Hello friends, it is time to talk about how our family liked the freezer meals that I made. About 2.5 months ago, I decided I was going to make some freezer meals for our family. It's one of those tender mercies that I got them done when I did because I ended up going into labor 10 weeks early. I'm now in the NICU with our baby Violet, and these freezer meals have been amazing for our family. We've had some meals brought in from friends, but on the nights when meals have not been brought in, these freezer meals have been so nice and handy. Put them in the crock pot in the morning, ready for dinner when we get home in the evening. Just cannot say enough good things about them. We started eating them before the baby came because life was just kind of busy and I didn't have a ton of energy, and they were so helpful. I have since looked on their website and they have meal plans for 2 people. So if you don't have a huge family at home right now, they do have meal plans that are scaled down for 2 people. So even for 1 person and some good leftovers. And she gave me a discount code. She said, I started getting all this traffic from your YouTube video. She reached out to me on Instagram and said, can I give your viewers a discount code? I said, oh, we love a discount code. So the discount code is in the description below if you want to get a discount and buy the yearly plan. If you're like, what is she even talking about? I used a myfamilydinner.com freezer meal plan. You can order a whole year's worth of meals. This is the 2nd set. I just printed it off yesterday because I am ready to do another round. We have probably 3 or 4 freezer meals left. So I'm just starting to think about getting the stuff for the next round of freezer meals. I made 24 freezer meals. That was a lot to make at one time. I would maybe, if you're new at it, I would maybe just do like 12 at a time, but the 24 have been perfect for our family. It meant we made 12 recipes 2 times each, and some have been amazing. Some have just been okay, but all of them have been easier than making dinner, easier to clean up, and they've all fed the family. Nobody ever went hungry, even if it wasn't their favorite meal, which we're all about. Just every meal doesn't have to be your favorite meal around here. I think that's one of the reasons why our boys are such good eaters, because we expose them to a lot of different type of things, even if it's not their favorite meal. So I did just print off the next round. That's how much I have loved this. If you buy the year-long plan, you get 6 different 2-month plans, and you print them off. They come with a grocery shopping list, and then they come with the recipes and labels for your bags. All these recipes are on her website, but this just really streamlines it. It gives you the shopping list all in one place. It gives you all the recipes. It gives you the things to put on the bags. Just makes it much more simple. Can't wait to do it again because it has been amazing. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch through my video that I put out about the freezer meals, and then I'll show you pictures of what we ate or a video of what we ate when it was done and how our family liked it. All right, let's do it. How funny, I am wearing the same shirt in the freezer meal video that I am wearing now. So let's get into this freezer meal video. We're just gonna look over the different things. Okay, first of all, these bag holders here, excellent. I would highly recommend buying them. I will put a link in the description below to where we bought them on Amazon. Okay, first up here, I was making chicken fajitas. The chicken fajitas were excellent. I think the boneless, skinless chicken thighs are amazing, and the flavors were great. We put them on tortillas, taco toppings. Everybody loved them. Had good leftovers for like lunch the next day. Chicken fajitas, 5 stars. Next up, we have the home style beef stew. There was some concern about this one because you put in a whole roast. The roast didn't get all mushy. We were able to just pull it out, cut it into chunks. The homemade beef stew was amazing. I would probably give this one a 5 out of 5. The parsnips were really tasty. I had never used parsnips before. They really just tasted like potatoes, but they had a good consistency. So home style beef stew, Bennett, our son, made some homemade bread to go with it. 5 out of 5 would totally make the home style beef stew recipe again. All right, next up we have the Enchilada Bowls. This I think is the only vegetarian one that they had, and it was made with quinoa. My mom made this one and she admitted that she thinks she cooked it too long. So keep that in mind, don't overcook it. We actually ended up eating it the next day. We put it in the refrigerator and then reheated it. I actually loved it. I had it like with a salad with lettuce and some chicken, and I thought it was fantastic. I also had it the next day for lunch as like a burrito, and I thought it was fantastic. My kids thought it was just okay. The flavor was really, really good. The enchilada flavor was really good. Everybody just thought that maybe the quinoa had a weird texture. It was a texture issue. So if you like quinoa, it should be a problem. I thought it was fantastic. Everybody else just thought it was but the flavor was fantastic. Take it or leave it. I don't know that I would make it again exactly this way, but we do love enchiladas, so the flavor was good. Next up, we have TexMex Chicken. Now, the TexMex Chicken was similar to the fajitas, except for you put bigger onion chunks and bigger pepper chunks in it, whereas with the fajitas, we use the bag onion and bagged peppers. Anyways, you add salsa to this one. I thought it had excellent flavor. Let's get to where I'm like adding stuff into it. This was one of our absolute favorite ones, the Tex-Mex chicken. I would 100% make this again with the beans and the salsa and the chicken. Kind of put taco toppings on top of it again. You can make it as a big salad, or you can have it in a tortilla. That's what my kids like to do, but it was excellent. This one was one of my absolute favorites. We don't eat a lot of chicken in our house because we catch halibut and we have moose meat. But this was an experiment. These recipes were worth buying some chicken. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and so did the family. Next up, we have making chili. Chili is one of those things where you kind of have a recipe that you like, and it's hard to eat a different recipe. So I love the idea of chili. This chili recipe was very different than the chili recipe that we usually eat. So I would probably do this again, but I would stick closer to the chili recipe that we like as a family. This one had cinnamon added, which was a very different taste. It was good. Everybody ate it. Everybody's bellies were full. We served it with rice, but I think in the future I would add corn and add the spices that our family is interested in. You do have to make sure you break up the hamburger in this partway through the day, so that, or at least like an hour before you eat it, so that it can kind of soak up some of the flavor, or you just have kind of like a block of hamburger meat right in the middle. So chili, I like the idea of a freezer meal. This one was not our family's favorite. Now next we have sloppy joes, which I knew would be kind of controversial in our house because I have a sloppy joe recipe that I absolutely love, and my kids don't like it at all. They just are like, ugh, sloppy joes. So I do not make it very often. I made it more when they were little. I don't make it very often now. So I was curious to see what they would think about the sloppy joes this time. Well, I'm happy to say that they actually really, really like the sloppy joes. I happened to pick up some Arby sauce at the grocery store at some point and had it in the pantry. And they actually put Arby sauce on the sloppy joes. And then they were like, this is our favorite meal ever. Our kids really like Arby sauce. We don't eat there very often, but anyways, so the sloppy joes were a success, even though it may have not been something that they thought they liked. So we would definitely make the sloppy joes again in the future. And I will be making some of these recipes again, but I will use moose meat. We have gotten really low on our moose meat. We plan on getting a moose in the future. So I would swap out moose meat for any of these recipes that we did with beef, so roast and hamburger meat. I would definitely do these recipes again, but I would probably buy chicken and do the chicken recipes because they just were so easy and so good. Okay, next up we have ham and potato soup. Now this one is a little bit tricky because I think I made a mistake on this. I think I blended it up too much. It was fine, it tasted good, but I felt like we didn't have enough chunks of potato. You don't cut the potatoes up because if you cut potatoes up, they can turn black in the freezer. They stayed fine. Mark and I were both like, this one's not our favorite. But our kids ate it like so quick and good that we're like, okay, that's all right. If the kids like it, then we're happy. Ham and potato soup, not at the top of our list, but it was still good. I think I just over blended it. I used my immersion blender and I just blended it a little bit too much. I would probably just chop up the potatoes in the future instead of blending them all. Next one is the Tuscan tortellini soup. This one is really, really good, really easy. My only suggestion is that you don't overcook the tortellini. You add them in the end. Don't add them and then let it sit for a long time or they get really like soggy. You just want to add them and serve it for dinner. Make sure you read the recipe because you don't want to add the tortellini in the morning. You want to keep that and then add it afterwards. So we really like this one. It was nice, something different. Soups have been excellent for this cold winter days, so the tortellini soup was a win. Tonight's crock pot meal, because I have about 4 to-do lists running simultaneously right now, is Tuscan tortellini soup. So I need to pour this in, then I need to add 4 cups water, 4 cups chicken broth, and in the last hour we'll add the tortellini and the spinach. Yum yum. Hello, Inspector Luna. Wow, that's full. Next up, we have bean burritos, which seem really simple, and I didn't actually get to eat these ones. Mark took the boys on a little camping trip while I've been in the NICU with our little girl Violet, and he had to bring some meals with him. They had this kitchen to cook in, and it had a crock pot. So he brought the bean burritos with him, and he stuck them in the morning, and then at lunchtime, they had bean burritos ready, and he sent me texts. He's like, "These are fantastic." I think because you add the cilantro and the beans and the onions, everybody had multiple burritos. He said they were so good. So we highly recommend these simple bean burritos. So I guess this is our second one that is more of like a vegetarian meal. It did not have any meat or beef or chicken added to it, and it was still excellent. So that one was a win for our family. Next up, we have the Mississippi pot roast, which is a pot roast with pepperoncinis. This is a meal that I have made many times before and continues to be one of our favorites. This recipe was excellent. It made great dinner with like mashed potatoes or rice, and then it made excellent leftovers. So I always love it when a meal can be used again. You can add barbecue sauce to it. It's a very versatile meal with whatever you want, but the meat itself is just fantastic. This one was a win. We will totally do this one again and enjoy it. Mississippi mud roast. Potatoes, salad, some green beans. Next up, we have the spaghetti and meatballs, and this one was a little bit more work because you had to make your own meatballs. I had several people in the comments say, well, you could just use frozen meatballs. 100% you could buy a bag of frozen meatballs. But let me just tell you, these homemade meatballs were fantastic. They had little bits of apple in them and onions. They were so good. We found for our family that this meal actually lasted us for 2 days. The first day we had it as meatball subs. I would cut the meatballs in half and lay them on the bun and then add cheese, and they were so good. Like, I don't even really like meatball subs. I would eat these all day. They were so yummy. And then we still had enough to then make a pot of pasta the next day and have spaghetti and meatballs. So that's a win for me. This was a huge hearty meal. Meatballs is not something that I usually make, and this was excellent. Yes, it was a little bit more labor intensive because you have to make the meatballs and you have to cook them ahead of time so that they don't fall apart. But this has been at the top of our list. We really liked the meatballs as meatball subs and spaghetti and meatballs. Next up, we have the lazy lasagna, which is essentially making lasagna with raviolis instead of buying cheese and noodles and layering it. My only problem with this is I froze the ravioli before, so it was kind of hard to spread them out evenly. The family liked it. It was a great quick meal. This one was excellent. I would totally make this one again. We're having lazy lasagna tonight. It was a long day of doctor's appointments for me, so it was nice to have that. A salad, green beans, and some rolls.
So you're being late.
All right, let's have prayer, boys.
All right, there we have it. That's my review of the 12 different freezer meals I made on my first round of myfamilydinner.com freezer meals. I bought the year-long plan. It has been excellent. I'm so grateful that I did this. I will totally be doing it again. A few tips if you decide to try freezer meals. One, read through your recipes before. There usually are a few recipes that take a little bit more work. For me, in this last one, it was we needed to make bacon for the chili, we needed to make the meatballs, and we also had to cook some meat for the lazy lasagna. So just know ahead of time that there is a little bit of cooking. Most of them were just dump and go, but you might have to do a little bit of cooking. So just prepare yourself for that by reading through your recipes. I did not take the time to read through the recipes. Secondly, I would make sure that I spread this out. Make your shopping list, get all prepared one day, go shopping the next day, and then make your freezer meals on a separate day. I wouldn't try and do it all at once because it is a lot of work, especially if you're making the 24 freezer meals. That would be a lot. This is divided up into 2, so you could just make 12 really easy. So some that are on the next list, oop, I just had it. Let's find it. Some that are on our next list. Salsa verde chicken nachos, butter garlic steak, hidden veggie bake, mac and cheese, Italian wedding soup, spicy tortilla soup. So those are 6 of the recipes. And then let's see if we can find the other 6. And the other one has General Tso's chicken, Philly cheesesteaks, yum, orange chicken, sausage tortellini, basil tomato soup, and ranch chicken tacos. So 12 more different delicious sounding meals that we can have ready in the freezer. Like I said, if you don't have this much freezer space or you have a smaller family, there are other options on her website, like smaller meals, or you could just do 1 month at a time instead of trying to do 2. So many options, but so helpful. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I did them. We have probably 3 or 4 left in the freezer. I'm grateful we have those until we can get this second batch made. Thankfully, I have my mom here, but you know, taking care of 4 kids while my husband's back at work and I'm at the hospital, that's a lot for my parents to help keep things going. And so my mom has loved having the freezer meals, or my dad. My dad's been turning them on for us as well. Mark and I get them out the night before, talk it over with my parents, say, hey, turn this on at noon. Some of them do only go for a certain number of hours, so make sure your crock pot will go to warm after. You don't want it to be overcooking. So pay attention to how long they should be cooking. Don't overcook them. So helpful, so wonderful. We are so grateful for each and every one of you that spends time with us. We love you, and we'll see you again real soon for more of This Alaska Life. I'm not sure she'll talk to us, but Miss Luna is here in the office with me. She's taking a nap by the heater. It is negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit right now outside. Brr. It has been cold the last few weeks.